Ecuador is working to deepen its ties with the United States as it fights increasing gang violence in the country. President Daniel Noboa met with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance Wednesday. The two discussed their commitment to fighting narco trafficking. Ecuador has launched a sharp crackdown on drug crime, and in March, the U.S. military began operations in the country as well. Now, the measures have helped reduce violence in some areas. Still, human rights groups have expressed concerns. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa joins us now from Washington. It is really good to have you on the program, Mr. President. You are in D.C. You met with Vice President J.D. Vance. What were your priorities in speaking with him, and what kinds of commitments have you now agreed on?
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. First, we talked about the reality of the region and that these groups are not common gangs. These are narco-terrorist groups that attack our region, that attack our citizens, affect the country's development, affect our ports, and a lot of it comes from our borders, especially our northern border with Colombia.
There is no doubt about the strain. Did you make the comment that you have made outside of the Vice President's office that nearly half of the cocaine that transits through your country is destined for the United States? What more commitments did you get from them, and would you welcome more U.S. involvement?
We would welcome U.S. involvement, respecting our laws and also respecting our military. Our military can lead the operations and have the support of American troops. That's the way that we've been working so far, and we've been successful at doing so. Right now, we have cornered these narco-terrorist groups into two areas in particular, which are the province of Guayas and the province of El Oro. So we have further operations going on there in the next few days.
In the next few days, so you have more operations on the go being planned this hour?
Yes, but mainly our local operations in urban areas like Guayaquil and Machala. These areas have the highest number of homicides in the country, but at the same time we can see that there is a reduction in homicides in the most violent area, which was the metropolitan area of Guayaquil. And in total we have 16% less homicides and 25% reduction in common crimes.
And how much has the United States, military or otherwise, contributed to you helping with this?
Well, it's been mainly intelligence, briefings, and satellite imagery, and more assistance, I would say, than on-the-ground operations. This assistance has helped our military and our police to do their job. We are a sovereign nation, and we respect our laws, and we respect international law.
You know, your country, and I don't have to remind you, has gone from one of the safest in Latin America to one of the most violent. You have been in power now for 2.5 years. You have 3 years left on your mandate. You must make more progress on security. I'm sure that that is your number one priority right now. But what proposals have you put forward? And can you give us a timeline? Like, when do you expect things to get better? How long will this take?
Oh, things will definitely improve in a couple of years. This is a long war, and because we respect human rights and our local laws, this has to be done with caution. At the same time, we need to push for economic development, we need to push for an increase in sales, an increase in savings, an increase in exports, that we've gone a long way since the beginning of this presidency. We're at double-digit growth in sales. Our economy is growing by 4%. Our inflation is below 2% at the moment, and we just broke record on foreign direct investment in 2025. Aside from that, we're reducing the number of homicides and common crimes to the level that we were in 2024, which has been the best year in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm. We will talk a little bit more about the economy in a moment. I do want to go back to this issue, though, and the fact that some human rights groups do have questions about the way you're conducting this. Sean Parnell, a Pentagon official, posted this video of what your government and the U.S. say is the destruction of a drug trafficking compound. Now, the U.S. says it was a direct request from you for targeted action to dismantle narco-terrorist networks. Now, we're watching this video that the Pentagon released, but human rights groups have They believe that in Ecuador, they believe that this was actually a working farm. I mean, what was this operation specifically, and will you continue to push for more of these joint operations? I know you just told us that you were being as careful as possible and that you were trying to obviously abide by human rights legislation in your own country, but given that this incident alarmed so many groups in Ecuador, what happened here, and do you have proof that this was a drug trafficking area?
Yes, it is a drug trafficking area, and it's close, very close by from large coca fields. At the same time, narco-terrorists or ex-guerrilla fighters don't post a sign the size of a sign in Times Square saying, "We are the narcos and we are here." They hide in farms. Some of them actually hide and transport their drugs in fishing boats. So what we received was intelligence from our partners, and with that, we acted.
So you don't believe what the human rights groups are telling you, or what some have looked for on the ground, that this was a farm, that the farmer had no connection to drug gangs?
No, it was a resting spot, and at the same time a place of operation from ex-guerrillas that operate close to the border in Sucumbíos, right in front of Putumayo, where let's say 60% of the coca production of Colombia is right there. It's right in front of it, so a few kilometers away.
Yeah, and to be clear, you've pointed out before that the production, your country is a transit point, not necessarily a point of production. I do want to get back to production. I do want to get back to this issue of your economy. The IMF, in fact, agrees with you that your government has made some gains. Growth, as you point out, is strong, and inflation is quite low. Reforms are underway. But I'm curious to ask you, how do you plan concretely to build on that momentum?
Well, the only indicator that really matters at the end of the day and that we use is the poverty index. It's at 21.4%. It's the lowest point in the history of the country. That means a lot of things. That means that there's local consumption. That means that there's increased sales, increased savings, that services are reaching more Ecuadorians, and that the average quality of life is increasing. So by reducing poverty, we can say that we are in a more just country, and a country that lives with more dignity and freedom.
And concrete plans that you might have to going forward?
Yes, we need to increase our youth employment. We have a very young nation. 40% of the population is between the ages of 14 and 35. So we're working on technical schools, on trade schools, and to educate to employ, not just plain education, but actually to have a plan to employ hundreds of thousands of Ecuadorians that are graduating from high school and that they end up in the workforce. So we need a plan for them.
Right, and that is definitely,
for them, they're going to end up in the hands of the narco groups.
I was going to say, that is definitely part of the security plan as well. I do want to go to the issue of tourism. It should be a robust growth sector for your country. I don't have to remind you, I've been to Ecuador. It is a beautiful country, and yet you can't blame people right now, given the violence that they heard of, not wanting to visit. What can you do, and how long will it take, do you believe, to really rejuvenate this sector?
Well, tourism is growing at double digits. And most violence is being sectorized. Quito, for example, has a lower homicide rate than 80% of the capitals in Latin America. Cuenca has the highest quality of life in all of Latin America. This is the third city in Ecuador. Galapagos has 0 homicides per year. And a lot of people visit the Galapagos, like we saw pictures of Jeff Bezos, of Mark Zuckerberg, and Leonardo DiCaprio in April. So Ecuador's tourism is growing. It's mainly adventure tourism. So people like to go to the Amazon. People like to go and hike up the volcanoes or go to Galapagos. And to protect these areas is our priority, not only on the environmental side, but also because we want to protect our tourists.
Right. President Noboa, I really thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.